Hey there, if you're watching this and you're right around 10 years old, well, I really need you to listen closely. You probably think you're just a regular kid, right? Going to school, doing your chores, hanging out with friends. But today's explainer of the text, the radiance of a living faith, reveals that you actually have a very special, literally world-changing mission. It's all about light, it's about darkness, and it's about this incredible power you hold to totally change the atmosphere of whatever room you walk into. So get ready, because we're going to figure out exactly what your glowing mission is and how you can start using it right now, today.
But to really understand this mission, we first got to understand the problem. Have you ever tried to find your way around in the pitch black? Imagine waking up in the absolute middle of the night. No night lights, no street lights outside the window, just absolute darkness. So you try to walk across your bedroom, your arms are stretched way out, you're stumbling around, and then, wham! You stub your toe on a desk, or worse, you step right on a stray Lego. Ouch, right? It's confusing and honestly kind of scary. You're just calling out for help, wishing for just a tiny, tiny crack of light so you can see where you're going. Well, the source text points out something really fascinating. Many people around you every single day feel exactly like this on the inside. They're basically stumbling through moral darkness, wanting light, calling out for help, and hearing zero response. And you know what? That is exactly where you come in.
Number 1, a solemn charge. So that brings us to your actual job. The text tells us that every single soul born into Christ's kingdom is given one extremely important mission, and it calls this a solemn charge. Now, solemn basically means super serious and deeply important, and a charge, well, that's a duty given to you by someone in charge. Think of it like an order from a king. You aren't just here to pass the time. No way. You are an absolutely essential part of a rescue plan. You are carrying top-secret orders to bring something totally vital into that pitch-black room we just talked about.
So what exactly are those orders? We find the core instructions for this mission directly in the source material, which actually points right to the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 16. It says this, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." This right here is the whole core of your solemn charge. Your job is to let your light shine right out in the open, where people, like your friends, your classmates, your neighbors, can clearly see it. But notice the goal here. They see your good works, sure, but they don't cheer for you. Nope. Instead, they glorify your Father in heaven. Your light actually points them up to God.
Now, you might be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, I don't glow. How in the world am I supposed to make my own light? Well, here's the secret. You don't actually have to create the light yourself. The text talks about receiving rich rays from the Son of Righteousness, which is Jesus Christ. He is the ultimate source of all light and all comfort. Think of yourself kind of like a shiny mirror. A mirror doesn't have a battery or a light bulb inside it, right? But if you hold a mirror up to the sun, what happens? Boom! It catches those bright beams and flashes them everywhere. That's your mission, to gather those bright gems of light and truth from Jesus and simply reflect them. You're flashing them right onto the pathways of your friends who are stuck in the dark.
But, every good mission has obstacles. The author specifically warns us not to let our light get put out by the mist and fog and malaria of the world. Okay, let's translate that into your everyday life. Have you ever noticed how a really bad mood can spread like a thick fog on the playground? Or how mean words, rumors, or even just the awful feeling of being left out can feel like a heavy mist hanging over the school? That is exactly the moral darkness, the doubt, and the unbelief the text is talking about. It's those daily struggles and temptations that try to cover up your shiny mirror with a thick layer of mud, basically so you can't reflect Jesus' light anymore. So when you inevitably face that fog, you've got a choice to make. On one hand, you can hide your light. That's what the text calls hiding it under a bushel. In real life, that looks like staying completely quiet when someone is being picked on, keeping your joy all to yourself, or sinfully withholding your light when a friend is really sad. Or you can complete your mission and set it on a candlestick. That means speaking up and doing it with kindness. It means being a solid friend, sharing a smile, and flashing truth and comfort to everyone around you so they don't have to keep stumbling in the dark.
And honestly, here is the absolute best part. This mission takes the pressure right off your shoulders. The text says something incredible. It says, Jesus does not bid the Christian to strive to shine, but just to let his light shine. Now, striving means stressing out, trying really, really hard, and forcing something to happen. But Jesus isn't asking you to put on a fake smile, pretend to be perfect, or exhaust yourself trying to be the brightest kid in the room. He just says, let it shine. If your mirror is pointed at the sun, the light is going to happen naturally. Your clear, distinct rays will effortlessly shine right out to the world as long as you're staying close to Jesus.
Okay, so how do we actually practically do this? Based on our source material, here is your 3-step action plan to complete your mission. Step 1. Gather divine rays of light from Jesus every single day. Spend time with him, read about him, talk to him, point your mirror right at the sun. Step 2. Listen for friends who are calling for help. Remember those kids stumbling in the pitch black? Pay close attention to the people around you who look lonely, sad, or confused. And finally, step 3. Flash bright gems of truth and comfort directly into their pathway. Use your kindness, your words, and your actions to completely cut through that moral darkness around them. But we do have to look at the flip side here. What happens if we ignore the mission and just blanket our light? Well, the text warns that we will meet with great loss ourselves, losing our own assurance, peace, and rest. But it's not just about us. All the people we associate with, our friends, our classmates, our own family, will completely miss out on the exact light and comfort they were supposed to get from us. And because we decided to stay quiet, doubt and unbelief are perpetuated, which basically means they just keep going on in the world around us.
But thankfully, it doesn't have to end up like that. Your mission is actually this amazing daily adventure. The text encourages us to go on from light to a greater light. And this means you don't have to be perfect at this right out of the gate. You're just catching more and more the bright beams from the Sun of Righteousness and shining more and more unto the perfect day. Every single day, you learn a little bit more about Jesus, your mirror gets a little bit cleaner, and your reflection gets just a little bit brighter. It's a journey of continuous, joyful growth.
So it really all comes down to an incredibly powerful question, taken word for word right from the source text. Shall I be indeed a light unto the world, or a shadow of darkness? Every single day when you walk into your classroom, or head out onto the playground, or even just sit down at the dinner table, you are doing one of two things. You are either a mirror flashing the bright, comforting light of Jesus, or you're a shadow, adding to the moral fog of the world. The choice is completely yours. Will you accept your solemn charge today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope you step out today and just let your light shine.